Hey guys, we're back with another video, and today we're talking about the hip opener and the other one, Elvis tuck. Now, people will call the hip opener multiple different things. I call it a hip opener. Some people call it a mountain climber. Some people call it, I don't know, a wide climber. Some people call it whatever. I'm calling it a hip opener because it's going to be less dynamic than some of the mountain climbers that you may see out there. And at the same time, this is not necessarily about the heart rate. It's not about bringing your level of fatigue up. Remember, in the Turner 12, and if you haven't seen that video, you need to go check it out. The link is down below. You can check that out, or if you're on the Facebook group and you're watching this, go into the members zone and all the videos are there, and the Turner 12 as well. So, what I'm covering here is the hip opener. Now, with the hip opener, we are literally trying to open up the hips. It's less dynamic, but with the Turner 12, we would have done foam rolling to release the muscles, then we move into mobilizing the joints, and then we move into activating the muscles. Okay, so there's 3 phases to the Turner 12. And the reason that that's important is because it kind of follows a sort of a strict principle for you every single time you do a workout. It means that you're doing release work to release any tightness or to get rid of any adhesions. You're doing the mobility work to increase the synovial fluid in your joints, right? Imagine you try and open a door after a long time of that door being stuck closed, right? There's going to be creaks, there's going to be moans, there's going to be groans, and it probably squeaks. Over time, the more you use that door, especially without oiling it, you get creaks. So it works in 2 ways. The less you use the door, the difficulty comes with the hinge movement or the movement of the hinge. And equally, the more you use the door, sometimes you get squeaks and all that kind of stuff. So it's important we look after the joints, is what I'm trying to say. So our way of spraying some WD-40 on our joints is by mobilizing the joints safely and effectively. That doesn't necessarily involve going straight head first into doing a real dynamic movement. Okay, some people will have levels to this exercise. So with that said, I'm going to start in the high plank position for the wonderful hip openers, and what you'll find is if you've done this before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you'll find that there's some tightness, and you're going to work that tightness out. So high plank position is what we're looking for. And if you're struggling to hold yourself in this position, you can actually go to your knees, which is absolutely fine. Now, I don't normally say this to people when they're doing push-ups, because you want to develop the strength to hold your body up. So if you can't do a push-up in a high plank position, well, just hold yourself there until you can even move half an inch, because that's still a push-up. But anyway, that's a side note. You want your hips to be slightly forward than your knee. Okay, most people will be used to getting into that position. I want your hips a little bit further back. Why? Well, you'll find out why. So I'm starting high plank position. I'm going to step my right foot up to my right hand, and I'm going to drop my elbow towards the floor. Okay, and then I'm going to step it back, and then I'm going to change sides, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Step, 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 and elbow. Step and elbow, just like that. Okay, now you'll feel a big stretch on the inside of the thigh here. You might feel something going on over here. You might even feel, if you drop the back knee down to the ground, a stretch on the front of the hip here. So we're dealing with the hip capsule in its entirety. Now, if you're struggling to hold that high plank position, or you can't get your foot all the way up to your hand, that's absolutely okay. Doesn't matter. Just go to where you can manage, but always try to put the foot flat on the floor. I.e., if you're there, make sure the heel is grounded. Make sure the toes are grounded. The worst thing you can do is start to cave this knee in and lift that foot. And if getting to there is tight and uncomfortable, that's a good sign, because what that means is that we're tackling the tightness on the inside of your leg. Now imagine, for 1 minute, I've got tightness pulling me this way, but I've got nothing going on here. Imagine you go in doing a squat. What's going to happen to this knee? If you've got tightness here, and not enough strength in this side to hold up against this tightness, which way is the knee going to go? It's going to go that way, right? And your knee doesn't like doing that, especially under load. So if you're loading your back, doing squats, and you've got severe tightness going on in your hip capsule, you don't know what the knee's going to do under that load. Is the knee going to fold in? Is the ankle going to cave? These are the questions that you have to start asking yourself when your training gets going. Even with a bodyweight squat, you're still loading yourself against gravity. It's just like, okay, well, I didn't know my knee was going to do that because I didn't know I was tight here, so now I know I'm tight there. I'm going to work on that, doing some hip openers. The next exercise is the Elvis tuck. Hence I'm breaking these down, guys. I really want to get to the nitty-gritty of this. Elvis tuck is key. So, foot, bless you. Foot's wedged in here, knees on the floor, other leg comes up, and we create this stable position. A lot of people will be used to doing this kind of stretch and all that kind of stuff, and I'm saying don't bother with that. What we want to do actually is activate the glute on this side using the toe being pressed into the ground, and what you'll find is if you hold that for about 10 or 15 seconds, you'll feel the stretch start here and it'll travel to this point in your body, okay? Relax it, stretch it, relax it, stretch it, and you'll start to see, obviously you do both sides, you'll start to see the hips up at the front here where your psoas is, start to open up just that tiny bit. All right, so you're creating the hip extension. So you've got hip flexion, which I'm in right now, hip extension, hip flexion, extension. A lot of people spend a lot of their days in hip flexion on the computer, driving the car, sitting down, all that kind of stuff. So if we're not extending at the hips and activating the glutes, we start to forget how that works, and then we develop a bit of tightness here, and then we start getting some lower back pain. So these two exercises, pretty much the most critical exercises in the Turner 12. I've rambled enough for you. If you want more information on this, please send me a message. If you want to have a face-to-face and sit down and go through these exercises because you've got lower back issues, or you want to talk things through because you're an online person and you like to sit on the other side of the world and you want to find out more about this, I'm more than happy to talk. Okay guys, so that's the hip opener, the Elvis tuck. Get practicing those this week. I will catch you in the next video. Stay strong, keep moving, and watch out for those knees when you're doing squats. See you later.